The goal of this video is to give you a very high-level overview of some of the buttons on the app launcher so that you can get a high-level idea as to what's actually contained behind those buttons that you look at when you click on the app launcher. So what I'm going to do is I want to go back to the SharePoint landing page, which happens to be the page that I'm on. So the SharePoint page, you access it by clicking on the SharePoint button right here off the app launcher, and then it loads the frequently visited sites that you've been to. As you can see, these sites they're my most commonly visited recent sites that are within the SharePoint environment, and they're all within this particular Office 365 tenancy. So anywhere that I've been is going to show up. Okay, and then the nice thing about this is with Office Graph being run within the background, the intelligence is constantly being collected and then analyzed and then placed into the algorithms that are going to then throw up any kind of suggestions based on my trends. So the machine learning aspect of the Office Graph is at work here. So there may be some connected information in here, information that ties into some of my previous viewing trends. Now, down the left-hand side, you also can see the sites that are being followed. I could click on any one of these stars and then more sites will be followed. And then I've also got a button here to be able to see all, which is all the sites that are available in there. So when I go back, then again, I can see recent. So I have frequent, I have following, which are the sites that I've clicked on the star. And then I also have the recent sites that I've visited. Okay, so there's probably going to be some tie-in here between these recents and the frequent. Okay, not necessarily exactly the same, but the recents are certainly going to, each time that I go to the site and they're a frequent, then they're going to add to that frequency and actually roll up into this list of frequently visited sites. Then there's also some featured links here as well. These are pushed down by your IT administrator. So that's what the SharePoint page looks like. And some of the other features on here, you can access your mail. You can access your email from within Office 365 just by clicking on the Mail tab. You can also go in and you can view your calendar, your Office 365 calendar in here, which is going to show you what you have, what Outlook is showing you. Then you also have a People app button. So when I launch the People app button here, you'll see the People screen, and this has been heavily redesigned here. So, you know, I can see the people that I frequently contact, which has taken into account some of the email correspondence I've had with these people, or potentially instant messages as well, and it shows that date time stamp of when they were last contacted here. Okay, it could have been interactions over a document as well, and then you have the links to be able to just send those users messages directly from here. Okay, and then it's also showing me what's on my calendar and the people that I'm integrating with for this particular day. And then it's also showing me any people that I've actually favorited here. Okay, and somehow it knows if there might be anything outstanding here as well, that you can go and you can look at this, and maybe there's a need to follow up with these users on specific topics. So I can also see on here a full list of the frequently contacted users as well, and then it shows me my last contact date with these particular users. Okay, these are just more in depth. These are the show all view here, so I can see the people that are connected on my calendar for the day. Okay, and then when you go down and then you expand out the contacts. Okay, it's showing me a full list of my contacts on here. And these are users that may be coming in, maybe I've had email contact with them, maybe they're coming in from social networks as well. Then I can filter down to the Skype for Business only contacts in here as well. These are users that I've actually communicated with these users at one point or another through Skype for Business. Okay, and then we also have the ability to connect to the social networks, so I could use the LinkedIn connector there to pull in more contacts if necessary. Okay, and then there's also internally, we have the directories for internal use only. Okay, so we have rooms, and then we have all the users on my on my current Active Directory that are in here. So again, these are internal users only to my organization on that domain. And then there's distribution lists on here too. So there's a lot of information that has been pushed into here. Groups we'll cover in another session. These are groups that are tied into other functionality within Office 365 in the environment in this particular tenancy. Okay, we also have Yammer on here too. So when I open up Yammer, I can see my organization's latest activity on Yammer too. So you can see some of this information that's on here. You can see the latest and the greatest information. And then I also have the button, the app launcher button that goes directly to my OneDrive. So my own personal business OneDrive, or business personal, as some would say, for documents that are to be shared, that really are company documents but don't necessarily belong in a team or in a project the way that you would have them on your typical SharePoint collaboration environment. So this might be, for example, these documents might just be templates that you had created, and you want to share them out with the rest of with a much smaller group of users potentially. So you can share with everyone by adding documents into the shared with everyone folder, or you can just share out specifically with a subset of users, and you'll see listed here who you're actually sharing particular specific documents with. So when I go back, then I can also pull up tasks, any of the tasks that have been loaded, and okay, so there's nothing really assigned to me in here. And then we also have Delve as well. Delve is obviously it's using the Office graph heavily here to show information that the system feels I might be interested in here. And you see them on these cards now. So you see the documents on the cards, and then you have options to do different things with the documents. You want to open it, you can open it right there in Office Web Apps in the online versions. And then you also have some other options on here to take actions on the documents. But this is kind of nice because there's usually some kind of an association with these documents, and then you also see that nice little preview in the screen here that you can then go on and work with. So video we'll cover in another topic. You also have Word. So the online version of Word is going into your SharePoint environments, and it's going and it's looking in those environments. And this is really hybrid, because there's several different SharePoint environments and tenancies that this is looking in. It's also looking into an on-premise environment as well as the Office 365 environment. So it's kind of nice because you can go in and you can open up your documents in here, and then you can start to work within those documents with the online version of SharePoint. So again, that functionality has been enhanced, and it's very similar for Excel and for PowerPoint. And then you also have OneNote as well, which is shared, which can be used to work with groups and teams in here, where you have your notebook that comes up in OneNote, and then you can start adding sections into the notebook. Okay, this is actually an aggregated view of all the rolled up notebooks that I as a user are given access into. So very convenient that you can go there, and then I can look at my own workbook and anything that's been shared with me around, explicitly shared with me by using the shared feature there. Okay, these notebooks just happen to be notebooks that I by default have permissions to as a member of a group. Okay, we also have Sway as well, and that will be covered in a later video. And we've also got the store here, so you can go into the Microsoft Store or the SharePoint Store, and then you can go in there and you can actually look for apps that can then be pulled down in here. This is the Office Store. If I wanted to filter down into SharePoint apps, then they're right here, so you can pull them in, and you can, depending on how your admin has set up the ability to be able to add apps, you may have to go through the admin in order to be able to install the apps themselves to work in conjunction with your environment and your site. Then you also have Planner as well. Planner is a relatively new tool for Microsoft here. So you can go in here and you can sign in. You can sign in and you'll see the access to your Planner environment here. And again, this is going to depend on your level of permission. So mine's not ready yet, so I'll give that a try in another demo. We also have Power BI and Power Apps as well, which will be covered. Flow is a relatively new application as well that helps you integrate workflow technology, out of the box browser-based workflow technology into libraries and into lists as well. And then you also have the integration of Dynamics 365 into your Office 365 environment too. So that concludes the high-level overview of some of the key features in Office 365, and we'll break off and we'll subsequently work in those specific applications and give more detailed training and demonstration on those applications.